Vanakkam Tamils, how are you all? Do not look at the 26-year war in Sri Lanka as simply a war. It was the conclusion of 60 years of institutionalized oppression. And do you know how it began? Through something as small as census forms. What we learnt in school is one thing. What we saw in cinema is another. But what the actual historical documents tell us is something else entirely. The politics of identity that began in 1871, how did it come to determine the fate of our entire people? In this video, we will examine with evidence how the dividing lines drawn by the British led all the way to Mullavikul. This is not simply a story about a war, it is a story about a blueprint, a deliberate plan to systematically marginalize an entire people. In 1911, an official named E.B. Denham classified every district along ethnic lines. In his report, he wrote that only the Sinhalese were the indigenous people of this land. At that time, Ponnambalam Ramanathan argued that Muslims were Tamil-speaking people and should be counted alongside Tamils. But the British administration deliberately rejected this. This is where we must pay close attention to something important. Ancient texts such as the Mahavamsa contain a poisonous ideology that killing Tamils to protect the Dhamma is not a sin, but a meritorious act. This historical distortion is the very foundation upon which Sinhalese people, even today, can kill Tamils without any sense of guilt and refuse to accept that Tamils have any right to live on this land. The Mahavamsa ideology of that era, combined with the boundary lines Denham drew in 1911, together branded Tamils as foreigners on their own soil. In their worldview, killing Tamils is an act of religious merit. This is why the politics of hatred that began in 1911 continues to this day. As evidence, we can point to the Kemani mass grave in Jaffna, where over 400 skeletal remains were recovered. But this is only the beginning. If excavations were conducted at more sites, no one knows how many thousands more remains would be found. It was using those census figures that the Don-O'More Commission in 1931 designed the electoral framework. This paved the way for the disenfranchisement of 1948 and the Sinhala-only Act of 1956. Government employment that once stood at 30% fell within a few years to just 5%. This was not an accident, Tamil people. This was planned displacement. And finally, Mullavikul, 2009. People who came believing it was a safe zone were attacked. International legal experts did not call this merely a war. They called it genocide. Why must we keep speaking about this history? Because refusing to forget is the very first step toward justice. The genocide that began with those small census forms continues to this day, and it is only through your voices that the fight for justice lives on. Share this history. Do not let it be forgotten. We will meet in the next video. Long live Tamil. Evidence only, never myths.